So there are over 40 amazing Lethal Company mods in this video. This is a quick compilation from my best mods to use series from part 1 to part 10 all in one video. There are probably some mods that you've missed out on, so let's go. Starting off with number 1 is the Bigger Lobby mod. No doubt one of the most popular mod in Lethal Company. Bigger Lobby allows you to play with up to 40 other players in a lobby, and yes, it is as chaotic and fun as it sounds. This is especially great if you have a group to play the game with that is more than 4 people. And yes, it does make the game slightly easier because you have more players running around, staying alive with a low chance of failing a run. But the sheer amount of surprise that will never happen in a group of 4 is also worthwhile, as you may encounter some really funny scenarios here and there. Now, if you want to find the perfect mod to pair together with Bigger Lobby, Brutal Company is up next on the list. Brutal Company makes the game so much more harder, so not really recommended to play with just 4 people, but if you have more than, let's say, 10 from Bigger Lobby, then this is the perfect mod to spice things up a bit. It introduces some new monsters that haunts the place, new mechanics like the random custom events that isn't in the main game, and some other nifty new features that is just an overall fun time to be had. I will not spoil anything about this mod for you, so go ahead and give this one a try. The great thing about this mod as well is that the host of the lobby only needs to download this mod, so other players joining in doesn't need to download it, which makes this mod all the easier to play with other people with. Now that we got 2 of the most popular mods out of the way, I would like to introduce the Lethal Fashion mod. It is not much, but it spices the game up without breaking the game in any way, unlike most other mods. So what it actually does is that it immediately unlocks 3 of the other spacesuits to be available in the hangar of your ship for you to equip. Normally, you need to purchase them from the ship's terminal, which just costs way too much in my opinion, and since the suit does not affect your performance or stats in any way, shape or form, this just seems like the perfect mod in my opinion, as now you and your friends can wear whatever you want to stand out without breaking the bank. Oh, and did I mention that only the host needs to install this mod and other players can just join and immediately wear what they want? Yeah, this mod is a must-have, at least for me. Now, what if suits are not your cup of tea and you prefer something a little bit more improvised on the quality of life side of things? Well, Lethal Company is actually what you're looking for. This mod is pretty simple in a way, but really enhances the overall experience because what it does is that it allows players to join into your lobby even when the game has started. No more for you to wait in your ship for that one last person anymore, as now you can just land on the moon solo or with a team and someone else can join in and fill in that empty slot midway. A pretty popular mod as well, and I can see clearly why. Now, what about mods for your inventory that doesn't break the game and it gives you more control over your character? Well, I would highly recommend the Item Quick Switch mod. This mod allows you to use your keyboard to access your items that is within your inventory at the press of a button. If you are familiar with other first-person shooter games, this mod should be a no-brainer for you, as you can now press hotkey 1 to 4 to equip any items. And don't worry, as the previously dance and pointing emotes are now relocated to F1 and F2, so you can still dance around and point around at a press of a button. Starting with possibly my new number 1 favorite mod right now, which is the Helmet Camera mod. Now what this actually does is really cool and I haven't seen anything like it. It actually allows you to see what other players are seeing through their perspective via the ship's control base, as if they are having a camera on their helmet. This allows you to have a greater control as a ship's operator, as it is now so much more fun to see what other players are up to, so you are not left out. You can also cycle through what you want to spectate via the switch button in the ship, and no, you can't spectate dead players. Now, some people might feel that this is too over the top, as they feel that it may ruin the ship's operator's original chaotic experience, but I beg to differ, as it doesn't really give you any crazy advantage over other players, plus it enhances your experience as a whole while you are staying in the ship. So go ahead and give it a try, as I'm sure you'll have a hell of a time with this mod. Now, what about mods that allows you to not only see what your teammates are up to, but the monsters as well? Introducing the Spectate Enemies mod in number 2. And yes, it does exactly what it says. It allows you to spectate monsters when you are dead with a click of a button. This is really interesting because not only are you now able to see everything unfold from the monster's perspective, which can be very funny at times, but it also gives you a glimpse of how the monsters actually move around while you are not near them. You can also turn on the flashlights just for yourself, just in case the place is too dark to see while spectating. And yes, you can even spectate the beast for whatever reason. So yeah, a very simple mod but also an extremely interesting one to play around with. Now, have you ever felt that there are maybe too little suits in the game? Well, you'll fall in love with the additional suits mod. By installing this mod, your hangar is now filled to the brim with a generous amount of suits for you to pick from. And yes, your teammates can actually use them as well. If you pair this up with the bigger lobby mod from the previous part 1 video, this is actually an even greater way to differentiate yourself among other people. Definitely another must-have. What about another one, such as the terminal clock mod? This allows the time to appear on your ship's terminal, so you never have to go out and guess what time it is. Very useful as a ship operator, as you can now report the time to your teammates without ever leaving the ship. Now let's not waste any more time, as the first mod on the list is probably one of the craziest I've seen, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Introducing the Mimic mod. This mod actually spawns in fire exits that look like the real deal, and yes, you will die if you opened it by accident. It's really surprising that such a mod even exists, with new monster texture and a whole new mechanic added into the game just from a mod alone. Now don't worry, the Mimic actually has some imperfections that sets it apart from the real fire exit, as shown on the screen right now, so you have the chance to avoid it by inspecting it more carefully before opening it. It is a great way to scare some unsuspecting crewmates that doesn't know anything about the Mimic mod.
What the fuck?
Careful!
Why the fuck is this?
I had no point to
God!
Wait, you died?
That scared
Wait.
me! I hate it!
You died by the door?
Now, if you think that mod is crazy, wait till you hear about this one. This is the Skinwalker mod. And what it does is that it allows monsters to pretend to be your crewmates, and how it actually does is pretty impressive. Whenever you talk in-game, this mod actually remembers how your voice sounds like, which will allow monsters to actually mimic and say stuff in your voice to catch your teammates off guard. This can allow some incredibly confusing moments where you thought that you've actually heard your crewmates, but it's actually a Bracken lurking in the dark, waiting to strike. And it goes without saying to make sure that your mic is enabled in-game for the mod to work as intended. Now, unlike the previous mod, this is a client-sided only mod, meaning that only you that installed this mod can hear the impersonator's voice. So for the full experience, make sure that everyone in your server also installed this mod. Now, what about a simpler but game-changing mod? Introducing the Elat's Heart mod. This mod will simply revamp the current UI that we have. It gives you a better indicator of your health and stamina, so you always be clear on what your status is. Additionally, it also hides your health automatically when not needed for added immersion to the game. Now, this mod is also client-sided only, so only you will be able to see this new change. But anyhow, a great way to spice up your game up a bit. Now, for the next mod, this is perfect for those who are looking for more new things in the store. This is the late game upgrades mod, and most of these new items are mainly used for the later game. And how about running shoes to increase the movement speed, night vision to see dark places better, malware broadcaster to destroy mines and turrets, and so many more. Now FYI, while these items seem really powerful and OP, the prices are not cheap, so you have to work hard to get it, and to me, this balances it out. And if you're still not satisfied, you can tweak the prices on your own to fit your own playstyle. This mod is client-sided though, which means that everyone in your lobby needs to have this mod for it to fully function. Now, during one of my last videos, I've recommended the Brooder Company mod because it is such a game changer and a fun time to be had. Well, how about upgrading to the Brooder Company Plus mod for an upgraded experience? I would highly recommend this one over the original because it is constantly being actively updated. Plus, it features more stuff like over 20 plus unique new random events, increased drop rate for loot, increased price at later days for a better risk/reward gameplay, and more which are fully customizable. More updates will come to this mod in the near future, so do try this one out now. Starting with the Employee Assignments mod. This is one hell of a mod that improves the gameplay. What it does is that it gives a specific amount of players in your team a quote-unquote side quest/assignments. If the player has completed said random assignment, your team is then rewarded extra credits to be added to your disposal. Currently, there are only 3 types of assignments, with more being added in the near future. The assignments are Scrap Retrieval, which asks the player to collect a certain item back to the ship. For example, in this footage, I'm tasked to collect a big axle. Hunt and kill monsters, which yes, you have to kill a specific monster, such as right now, I'm tasked to kill a bunker spider. And the last assignment being to repair a broken valve somewhere in the facility. Currently, you will only get 1 random assignment per landing, and don't worry if you can't finish the assignment, as nothing bad will happen to you. This is just a little extra oomph for you to improve the overall gaming experience. Now, only the host needs to install this mod for it to work, but I've heard that other players need to install it as well, so do go ahead and try it out. The next mod on the list is a pretty impressive bundled up mod, which is Lethal Things. This mod is actually pretty popular as it contains a ton of new content just from this one download alone. It has 7 new scrap items, 5 new store items, 1 new enemy, 3 new decorations, 1 new trap hazard, and 1 additional game mechanic. Let's go through them one by one. The 7 new scrap items are just random things such as 4 new plushies and 3 other items that has a distinctive charm to it. The 5 new store items are as follows. First one is a toy hammer, which is really fun to bonk around with. Second item is a rocket launcher, which has 4 shots and highly dangerous. A utility belt that adds additional storage for scraps. A remote radar, which works exactly like a monitor but with extremely limited battery life. And a hacking tool to unlock gates, disable turrets, and mines with a nice mathematical minigame. Now don't worry if you feel that any of these items are too powerful, as you can always tweak the prices for each of the item in the config file to balance them out or to suit your own playstyle. Now aside from that, this mod also has 2 new decoration items, which are the rocks and the fatality signs. New enemies as well called the Boomba, which I won't showcase here to not spoil the surprise, and a new trap hazard similar to the landmine, but instead it will randomly teleport you when you step on it. Now this mod requires everyone in the lobby to install it, as it is client side only, so do keep that in mind. Overall, what a massive mod that is available now for download. Now here's another mod that will probably blow your socks off, which is the More Company mod. Now this mod increases the player count to 8, and yes, bigger lobby does provide more player count than More Company, but the main thing about this mod is the cosmetic side of things. This is the one and only mod where you can customize your character with crazy cosmetics in-game, very much like an internal game shop. Very outstanding on how this mod functions, and I would highly recommend it for a different experience of the game. This mod seems to be client-sided only as well, so make sure everyone in your lobby install this mod. Now next up is the Intro Tweak mod. This is a very simple but effective mod, as all it does is to help you entirely skip the online/LAN option that occurs at the start. No more are you needing to waste any more time in selecting online or LAN, as most of us will pick online anyway. So download it now and give it a go, as it will save you so much time. Next mod on the list is another simple but effective mod, which is the Sort by Player Count mod. It sorts the server list from most players to the least amount of players from top to bottom. Very handy in immediately knowing which server is the most active at any point. This can be done via a simple click at a new selection here called Sort. Now if you want to unsort it, just click refresh. Another simple mod that gets the job done. Now do you hate how confusing it is to scroll through your items with the mouse wheel just to find out that you're scrolling the wrong way? Well, the scroll inverter is the best mod for you. This is not for everyone, but definitely a mod that helps those who aren't used to the game's inverted control. This is a client-sided only mod that only works for those who installed it, so do keep that in mind. And what about a quick mod that fixes the jump delay that your character has? Introducing the Jump Delay Patch mod. This simply makes the jumping action almost instantaneous, so you have an easier time to time your jump. Now there will still be a little bit of a delay, something like 1 ms, so it doesn't 100% remove every single delay. Now this is a client-sided mod, so it will only work for the person that installed it. Starting with one of my favorite of all time, HD Lethal Company. Now this allows you to make your game look so much better, as it can apply some really game-changing graphical quality such as anti-aliasing, which is not present in the vanilla game. The footage on the screen right now might be a little bit hard to tell the difference due to YouTube's video compression settings, but trust me when I say that you must try this out to see the massive difference. It can also give you more control over things that you otherwise couldn't, like the resolution scaling, texture quality, LOD aka level of detail, shadow quality, post-processing, volumetric fog, and more. So yeah, one of the best graphical must-have mods for anyone who enjoys a fresher and crispier look for Lethal Company. Now, have you ever felt that progression in this game could really use some additional buff? Introducing one of the best solution right now, which is the Lethal Progression mod. This mod is packed. You will now have a fully fledged leveling up system with added visible levels, EXP points, and skill points, which is fully integrated into a stats upgrading system. And these are actually pretty decent upgrades that doesn't break the game. You can do things like upgrading your health regeneration, which lets you regenerate up to 100 HP, stamina, which allows you to run a little longer, battery, which gives your equipment a little bit more juice, hand slots, which is not too OP as it only gives you one additional equipment slots if you fully max these stats out, value, which gives the scraps that you find a little bit more of a price bump, and oxygen, which gives you a little extra time to survive underwater. So this allows you and your team to specialize in different areas of the game, and you can also freely remove any of the stats point if you wish to change your mind. Now, one thing to note is that you will not lose your level when you die, but you do lose everything if you play any other server that it isn't yours, so do keep that in mind. This mod requires everyone in your server to install for it to work. Now, many people have asked for a mod that allows them to mess around in the game with. Well, the Game Master mod is the perfect one for that. This is basically a way for the host to have full control over their entire server, and I mean everything. By pressing the insert key, you will open an in-game menu, which will now give you features such as the ability to spawn in any enemies at any amount you like, and likewise you can also remove the enemies if you want to, changing the weather of any moon you are on, the ability to adjust how the monsters work such as the speed of coil hits, just the cranking speed, and more, EXP change if that is your thing, timing adjustment if you want to, let's say play in the nighttime, scrap pricing can also be tweaked to your preference, and also modifiers are available in case you want to test some things out, such as infinite sprint, infinite money, speed hack, and infinite deadline. Now there are still so many more than what I featured, as it is packed with commands that you have to try it out to understand the full potential. Now next up, as a host, do you hate it when people mess around with your save file? Well, you can try out the Lockdown mod. This is a very simple mod which allows the host to regain full control of their save file. This is designed to prevent griefing and maintain the integrity of your save by disabling access of other clients in your lobby to perform certain actions, such as object lockdown, which prevents other people from moving objects within the ship, routing restrictions so other players can't decide which moons to land on, store purchasers control, which stops other people from purchasing items in the store and prevent them from wasting money on unnecessary purchases, and many more features that you should check out on. Now yes, this mod is pretty restrictive for other people that joins your lobby, so it is only for those who are very serious in preventing other people from ruining their save file. Now the next mod on the list is very interesting, and I'm sure you feel the same way. This is called the Route Random mod, which allows you to go to any randomly selected planets, and yes, even the ones that are expensive such as Titan, Ren, and Dine. Not only does this mean that it gives the gameplay an additional twist of unpredictability, but it also allows you to go to harder moons without paying anything. It gives the entire experience of Lethal Company a sense of surprise, and I am all for it for this mod. This mod is client-sided only, so it only works for those who downloaded it. Starting with the More Emotes mod. This mod allows you to do many other actions aside from the existing dancing and pointing, such as clapping, saluting, twerking, doing the greedy, being shy, and of course, giving a finger to someone you don't like. These emotes are added to your keybinds number 3 to 8, and it even has an in-game emote wheel, which is neatly organized for your emoting pleasure. Now, if you are not satisfied with the controls, you can head over to the settings menu and click on More Emotes to configure your own personal key for the emotes to your liking. A truly 10 out of 10 mod. Now, only those who have installed this mod can see the new emotes, so keep that in mind. Now the next mod on the list is already showcased in number 1, which is the mirror deco mod. Very simple mod that adds in a real-time mirror that actually works. This can be purchasable from the ship by typing mirror and the base price is 100. Now do note that purchasing the mirror can result in a few seconds of FPS drop due to how the mod works. This mod is server-sided, so it should work for everyone else even if they did not install it, but to avoid any issue, just make sure that everyone has installed this mod together. Next up, this is a very special type of mod that I've never featured before on the channel, and it is a map mod. More specifically, the SCP Foundation Dungeon. This is a dungeon that you can explore in the game of Lethal Company. After installing this mod, the mood that you are on will randomly have the SCP Foundation Dungeon as a facility when you enter the door. By default, only Titan can have a chance to spawn this map, but you can tweak it in the config files to make it appear on all moons if you so wishes. I won't spoil the whole dungeon for you as it is a blast to experience this mod for the first time, but do keep in mind that this mod is required by everybody in the lobby to avoid any desync, so yeah, go ahead and try this mod with your friends. Now how about a simple mod to just have a good time? Introducing the YouTube Boombox. As it says, it will allow you to play any videos you want from YouTube onto the Boombox. After installing this mod, you'll have to grab the Boombox first and press B for this menu to appear. And all you need to do now is to paste the YouTube link into it and click play. Now it will take around 10 to 20 seconds for the video you've selected to play. But once it's done, now everyone who've installed this mod will hear the YouTube video. Players without the mod will not hear anything. FYI, you can type in /BBV at any number between 0 to 100 to change the volume of the boombox nearest to you. Also, the songs that you've downloaded will persist until the game is restarted. Starting with a pretty cool mod that I think most people would appreciate is the Not So Brutal Company. Now this is the easier version from the popular Brutal Company, where you'll be able to experience the new features that is presented in Brutal Company without actually being too hard. You still get features like the dynamic random events, which is probably one of the most exciting part of Brutal Company, and also some additional tweaks to how the monsters work, the ability to hide events in chat so you never know what you're into just to enhance the experience of the whole thing out. This is perfect to be played with a smaller party as the balance is revolved around it. Now only the host needs this mod installed for it to work, so go ahead and try this out with your friends, as there are so many more things that is available in this mod that I won't spoil for you. Now for the next mod, scanning is a pretty important thing to do in Lethal Company, so why not utilize the Hold Scan Button mod. This mod allows you to simply hold down the scan button and it will constantly ping for you. This fixes the problem of some people feeling that spamming their mouse key is not a good idea. Plus, the scanning interval is the same as when you are spamming right click anyway, so it's not really breaking the game in any way. I'm sure most people will appreciate, and I'm sure you will too, so try it out if you want to extend the life of your mouse. Next up is a mod that really tests the nerve of your team, which is the We Need to Go Deeper mod. It is a pretty simple mod but changes the experience extensively. What it does is that it only allows your team to enter through the main entrance and only exit through the fire exits. If you try to exit through the main entrance, it will mention that it appears to be blocked. And if you try to enter through a fire exit, it will tell you that it's basically just an exit. This creates a very fun scenario and gives the impression that nobody is safe and you have to work together to pull this through. Now this mod is client-sided only, so it only works for those who installed it. So if you plan to use this mod, highly recommend to have everyone in your team to have it for the best experience possible. Now have you felt that the flashlight needs a little bit of a glow up? Well, the color flashlight mod is all you need. After installing this mod, by typing CF into the terminal, followed by the color that you like, it changes color of the flashlight's light into it. And the best part is that aside from these new preset colors, you can actually add in your own color code if you want something a little bit more personalized. Type CF list in the terminal to see all of the available colors and commands from this mod. Now this is a client-sided only mod, which means it only works for those who installed it. So if you and your friends want to see each other's custom colors, everyone needs to have this mod installed. But anyway, a definite must must-have for those who plays in groups. Now how about another really cool quality of life mod? This is the Always Can Dance mod. It allows you to dance no matter what, even when you're moving. Now even though it says always can dance, it actually also allows you to point while moving. So it's really a mod that allows you to emote no matter what. By default, the emote animations will last for about 10 seconds, but you can change them in the mod config file if you wish to. Not really a game-changing mod per se, but a welcome addition to the quality of life side things. Starting with the Hunt Down mod as the first mod. Before we begin, do excuse the minimap here as I'm using it to find the monsters faster for this showcase. Anyways, the Hunt Down mod is kinda insane as it only requires the host of the lobby to install it for it to work. So what it does is actually pretty impressive. It gives every player at the start of the round a mission to kill a random monster in the facility. These include monsters like the Bracken, Hortbug, Nutcracker, and many more. Once you have found your target in the facility, it will show you that it's your target when scanned. Killing it will give you a pretty generous reward as it drops a random scrap on the ground for you to pick up and sell later. This gives a little risk versus reward to the overall gaming experience and I'm loving it so far. Now the funny thing about this mod is that one of the targets can also be a dog if you're unlucky, and this said dog will spawn in the facility itself. So combined with the fact that this mod only requires the host to activate, yeah, I've surprised so many people and left them wondering why is there a dog in the facility. It truly left a memory in them that won't be forgotten anytime soon. Now the second mod is also another one that you truly must try out, and that is the Diversity mod. Now unfortunately, I don't have any footage for this mod as my recording file was corrupted during this session, so I'll just explain what this mod actually does, which I'm sure it'll still blow your mind. So basically what it does is that it changes a few aspects of the game to truly something incredible. Like this for instances, where in the Bracken's case, it allows it to flicker and turn off all nearby lights and dims the player's flashlight if you're too close to it. This allows the Bracken to enhance his nature of darkness. As for the Ghost Girl, it basically allows her to talk in your walkie-talkie, which I've tested and yeah, it's pretty haunting. As for the spiders and crawlers, it gives you the chance to slow them down by hitting them so you won't feel that they're too overpowered. And as for the centipede that goes onto your head, you can spam the E button to get it off your teammates. And probably the coolest feature so far is the addition of player conditions such as a broken leg which slows you down, a broken arm which I haven't really tested it yet, and also you can now bleed. There are so many more features in this mod that I have not mentioned yet, so go ahead and try it out to find out the secrets yourself. Note that everyone in the lobby needs to install this mod for it to work. Now have you ever felt that going to moons with harsher weathers are never worth it? Well, that changes with the weather multiplier mod that I wish I showcased sooner. With this mod installed, moons with active weathers will contain scraps that gives higher value rate. Only the host needs this mod to work, so it is very easy to enjoy it with everyone else. These are the extra values that each of the weathers give to scraps, from rainy being 5% extra value to eclipse being a whopping 50% extra because of how hard it is. This gives an incentive to actually explore moons with harder weathers now, instead of avoiding like a plague. Now, if you're not happy with the extra scrap value, you can always change it in the config file for the mods and tweak it according to your liking. This is definitely a must-have mod. Now back to the quality of life side of things. I'd highly recommend the Term Speak mod. This is a pretty simple mod that allows you to speak on your walkie-talkie even when you're on the terminal. All you need to do is to make sure that your walkie-talkie is turned on and you can now speak to your team on the other side while you are inputting commands in the terminal. Super useful mod that gives you a greater control over your character. Now how about a simple mod that gives you pretty useful info? This is the Discount Alert mod that provides you with a notification on which items are currently on discount. A very simple but useful way to know what you could potentially buy without entering the terminal every time. And today's mod is going to be great for those who are looking for something fresh, such as Lethal Presence as the first mod on the list. Again, I am using the minimap mod above to properly showcase this mod. So the Lethal Presence mod will allow presence in the game to have a small chance to, let's say, spawn a monster instead. These monsters could range from any of the enemies in the game, which includes turrets and mines as well. This will give you and your team a slight sense of surprise and adds a little risk to the gameplay. By default, enemies have a 5% chance to spawn out of a present, but you can tweak the percentage according to your liking. You can also control which monsters are allowed and not allowed to spawn from the present box, which is pretty nice. This mod needs everyone on the server to install it to fully function. Next up on the list is a mod that makes patch version 45 so much better, and that is the Buyable Shotgun mod. This mod allows you to purchase the shotgun through the terminal, which is usually only available through the Nutcracker. Now, I understand that making the shotgun purchasable might be controversial as it is a really special item that can only be obtained by those who dare to challenge the Nutcracker, which is why if you want to get this mod, I would highly recommend for you to head into the config files and edit the mod itself and place it at a very high price, something like 1500 credits, so it's not too cheap. And FYI, if you don't know how to edit the mod settings, just head to the edit config tab and search for your mod if you are using the Thunderstorm manager, or head to the BepIndex folder and head into the config file if you have installed the mod manually. So yeah, I personally love this mod as it gives me a chance to experience the shotgun whenever I want with a price. And before we move on to the next one, I would also like to recommend the Buyable Shotgun Shells mod, so you can purchase more ammo for the shotgun. Again, by default it is only 20 credits, so I would highly recommend for you to make it above, let's say 100, just to balance things out. These two mods are required to be installed by everyone for it to work. Now maybe you want more customization for your character, then the more head is perfect for you. This gives you more option to customize what's on your head, so you have more fun in messing around with your friends. Everyone in the server needs this mod for it to work, especially if you want to see each other's customization. Now, you probably realized that there are subtitles in some of my gameplay footages, and that is the subtitles mod that could be a good one for you to try out. This simply adds in subtitles and captions in the world of Lethal Company, such as during a great asset song at the start, when doors open and closes, when monsters make a sound, and many more. It is not entirely useful to the general public, but it is perfect if you have trouble hearing or if you want to play on a lower volume because maybe the game is just too scary and you probably don't want to miss the action. Now again, this mod is not for everyone, but just thought that I put it out there. Now, have you ever felt that the facility needs to be a little bit more haunted? Well, the Ghost Codes mod is the one for you. I don't have any gameplay for it currently, but it actually allows ghosts to send random broadcast codes to open and close doors anytime and anywhere. And yes, it even disables and enables turrets and mines randomly. This mod aims to add a little fun random element to the game, and I believe that you should try it out. I have tried it out myself personally, and all I can say that it adds a very haunting experience. This mod is required by everyone for it to fully function. And with the new years ahead, it is time to test out new mods to spice your game up a bit, and you can do that with the Cast mod as the first mod on the list. Now, this mod actually adds a new moon to the game called Cast. It costs around 1000 credits to land on, and it is deemed to be the hardest moon available in Lethal Company right now. Upon landing on this expensive moon, you will notice that the layout is different with an industrial look to everything around it. Aside from having a few special Easter eggs that you have to discover for yourself, these maps tweaks the facility to have an insane amount of loot available, so you'll be able to reach a higher quota easily with this map. Now, it doesn't change the inner facility unfortunately, but do be well prepared as this map can be insanely hard, as there would be more harder monsters available as a trade-off for this map to give you more loot. Now, with a mod of this caliber, everyone on your team requires this mod for it to work. Now, in order for the previous mod to work, you'll need to get the Lethal Expansion mod. This is an insane mod that adds 3 new moons to your gameplay, which are 2 new Christmas maps and 1 new castle theme map. Aside from adding these new moons, it also adds something like a mod menu that can be accessed through the game menu, and the amount of customization that you can do to your game is just overwhelmingly crazy, from adjusting the amount of money you have all the way to adjusting how the monsters in the game behaves. It will take some time for me to go through all of them, so I would highly recommend for you to download it and test this mod out for yourselves. Now, while these mods adds new map for you to enjoy, they don't change anything about the facility and how it looks. Well, that can be solved by the amazing Scoopy's Variety mod. This adds a new dungeon-themed interior that has a chance for it to spawn on whichever moons that you land on. This combines with the Water Rage map from the Lethal Expansion mod makes for a huge game changer. The dungeon-themed facility is spooky with areas like the jail cellars and many more. This map is kinda huge, so I won't spoil too much of it, as it is better if you experience it for yourself. Now, as a disclaimer, this mod is actually an improvement and a sequel of the previous mod, Lethal Expansion. So by right, you only need Scoopy's Variety mod to get the features of Lethal Expansion. But for some reason, it's not really the case for me, as I still need to install both of them to get all of the features. So I'm not really sure what's going on with these two mods, but just to be safe, Install both Litho Expansion and Scoopy Variety mod to get everything that I've showcased. Alright, now moving on to the fourth mod, and it's a simpler but a very fun mod to have, which is the More Blood mod. As mentioned, this adds more blood splatters to add on to the horror. This is perfect for those who felt that the vanilla blood is too mild and want something more gruesome. This is a client-sided mod, so it only works for you if installed. Next up, the next mod on the list is a pretty special one, as I haven't heard of this mod until the creator actually reached out to me on Discord to check it out. And yeah, I'm pretty glad that I did. This is the Corporate Restructure mod, and it adds new monitors to the ship's terminal to display very useful infos, such as displaying the current value of scraps that is on the ship, which already makes it a must-have in my opinion. It also adds the current time of the moon, so it's useful for the ship's operator to know the amount of money that you currently have and the current day that you're in. And aside from these useful indicators, it gives the host of the lobby a choice to forcefully open the door of the ship while you're in the orbit to end the game immediately. This is very useful if you or your team felt that it is impossible to reach the next quota and wanting to restart the game immediately without recreating the lobby every time. A must-have mod in my opinion, as it has some pretty thought out features. This is a client-sided mod, so it only works for those who installed it. And if you have any mods that you want me to check out or showcase, please write a comment below or send me a message on Discord. And if you want to see more amazing mods that you've probably missed out, check out these videos right here and I'll see you there.